The underestimated species. The Grand Council chamber of the Zethran Empire's flagship, Eternal Dominance, fell silent as High Commander Exoric entered. His scales gleamed under the ambient lighting, polished to a perfect sheen that reflected his status among the Empire's elite. The seven-limbed being moved with practiced grace despite his massive frame, settling into the central command chair designed specifically for his species' unique physiology. The humans request an audience, announced Sub-Commander Velik, her voice carrying the distinctive metallic resonance of the Zarian upper class. They wish to discuss terms of technological exchange. Soft chittering, the Zarian equivalent of dismissive laughter, rippled through the chamber. Earth, a backwater planet on the fringes of the galaxy, had only achieved faster-than-light travel 3 decades ago. By comparison, the Zetherian Empire had been the dominant force in this sector for over 12 millennia, their technological superiority unchallenged by the hundreds of species they had encountered. Let them come, Sorak waved a primary limb casually. I find their primitive attempts at diplomacy amusing. The holographic projection in the center of the chamber flickered to life, displaying the Earth delegation. 5 humans in crisp blue uniforms adorned with simple silver insignias. At their center stood a woman with dark hair pulled back tightly, her expression betraying no emotion despite the intimidating assembly of alien officials surrounding her. High Commander Korak, she spoke with surprising confidence. I am Admiral Diana Hayes of the United Earth Defense Force. We appreciate your willingness to receive our delegation. Thoric's upper mandibles clicked together, a gesture of mild impatience. Admiral Hayes, the Zarian Empire acknowledges Earth's recent advancements. However, understand that your technological development remains rudimentary by our standards. What could Earth possibly offer that would interest us? The woman nodded to one of her colleagues, who activated a portable projector. Above it materialized the image of a spacecraft unlike anything the Zetherans had seen from Earth before. It was angular rather than curved, with visible external components and what appeared to be primitive thruster systems. This is the Nexus, Admiral Hayes explained. Earth's newest defensive prototype. We believe its design principles may complement Zetheran technology in ways beneficial to both our civilizations. Sorak couldn't contain himself. His entire frame shook with chittering laughter, echoed by his subordinates throughout the chamber. You propose a technological exchange with this? The High Commander gestured dismissively at the hologram. Your vessel's propulsion system still relies on reaction mass. The hull would disintegrate under any significant gravitational stress. Even your communication arrays use outdated electromagnetic signaling. Admiral Hayes maintained her composure, though one of her junior officers visibly tensed. With respect, High Commander, we believe our approach offers certain advantages your engineers might find intriguing. Enough, Korak cut her off. The Zarian Empire has dominated space for 12,000 years by following proven technological paths. Your species has barely mastered interstellar travel. Your proposal is denied. The dismissal was final. The Earth delegation exchanged glances but maintained their disciplined silence. However, Sora continued, leaning forward slightly. The Empire is always generous to developing species. We will send a technological delegation to Earth within the next solar cycle. They will guide your scientists toward more productive avenues of research. What the humans couldn't see was the private communication simultaneously transmitted to Korok's War Council. Prepare the assimilation fleet. Earth's resource-rich system will make an excellent new province. The Earth delegation departed without further comment, their expressions unreadable. None of the Zarians noticed the small device left behind, its quantum entanglement circuits quietly monitoring their subsequent conversations. They're planning an invasion fleet, Captain Mayachin stated flatly, reviewing the intelligence gathered from the quantum tap left in the Zethran Council chamber. Estimated arrival in the Sol system, 76 Earth days. The Strategic Command Center beneath Geneva hummed with activity as Earth's highest-ranking military and scientific personnel processed this information. At the head of the gleaming obsidian table sat Admiral Hayes, her earlier diplomatic demeanor replaced with steely determination. Then we accelerated their timeline, she noted calmly. As expected, Dr. Sanjay Kapoor, head of Project Nexus, adjusted his glasses nervously. The Nexus isn't ready for deployment. We've only run simulations of the dimensional phase drive, never an actual field test. We don't have a choice anymore, General Williams of the North American Coalition interjected. The planetary defense grid won't stop a full Zarian battle group. We've seen what they did to the Centauric colonies last year. The room fell silent at the mention of humanity's first interstellar allies, now reduced to mining outposts under Zarian control after a peaceful technological integration that had turned into military occupation within months. The Nexus is our only option, Admiral Hayes concluded. Dr. Kapoor, you have 6 weeks to complete the project. Captain Chen, you'll command. Maya Chen straightened in her chair. At 36, she was young for such a command, but her brilliance in quantum mechanics and tactical warfare made her uniquely qualified to pilot Earth's most advanced vessel. Yes, Admiral, she acknowledged, though her eyes betrayed concern. And if we fail? Hayes' expression hardened. Then humanity becomes another footnote in Zetherian expansion history. Integration sequence initiated. Maya Chen sat motionless in the command chair as the neural interface cables connected to the ports surgically embedded at the base of her skull. The bridge of the Nexus was unlike any conventional spacecraft. Instead of traditional controls, the entire vessel operated as an extension of the captain's consciousness, augmented by a quantum AI system. Neural handshake complete, reported Lieutenant Kenji Takia, the ship's systems operator. Quantum core stable at 96% coherence. Dimensional phase drive on standby, added Dr. Alina Rodriguez, the theoretical physicist who had conceptualized the drive's impossible mathematics. But Maya, Captain, remember, this is still technically experimental technology. Maya allowed herself a tight smile as her consciousness expanded through the ship's systems. At this point, Elena, everything we're doing is experimental. The true nature of the Nexus was known to fewer than 50 people on Earth. While the vessel presented to the Zetherans had appeared primitive, it was merely a shell, a deliberate misdirection. Beneath the conventional exterior lay technology that had taken humanity in an entirely different direction from the established galactic engineering paths. Instead of pursuing the standard antimatter drives and conventional shields used by the Zetherans and other advanced species, Earth scientists had delved into quantum mechanics, dimensional physics, and consciousness integration. The result was a ship that could phase between dimensional states, existing partly in normal space and partly in subspace simultaneously. Fleet Command to Nexus, you are cleared for launch. Admiral Hayes' voice came through the quantum encrypted channel. Godspeed, Captain Chen. Maya felt the ship respond to her thoughts as the moorings released. The Nexus rose silently from its underground hangar, accelerating through Earth's atmosphere without the conventional flames and thunder of chemical rockets. To any observer, including the Zarian spy satellites in high orbit, it would appear to be exactly the primitive vessel they expected. Set course for the Kuiper Belt, Maya ordered. We'll conduct final tests there before the Zarians arrive. As the Nexus cleared Earth orbit, Maya accessed the ship's external sensors, looking back at the blue-green planet below. Humanity had unified in the face of extraterrestrial contact, but that unity had come too late to prevent their technological disadvantage. The Zetherans, like many advanced species, had followed a linear path of technological evolution, perfecting antimatter manipulation, gravity control, and faster-than-light travel along predictable lines. Humanity, arriving late to the galactic community, had been forced to innovate along entirely different paths. The Nexus represented not just a technological leap, but a philosophical one, the integration of human consciousness with quantum computing and dimensional manipulation. Kuiper Belt approach in 30 minutes, Takia reported. All systems functioning nominally. Maya nodded, feeling the ship's systems through the neural interface. Begin final calibration of the phase drive. We need to be ready when they arrive. Captain, Elena's voice held an edge of concern. There's something you should know about the phase drive. The simulation suggests that if we push beyond 70% dimensional shift, the quantum entanglement effect could spread beyond the ship. It could potentially affect anything within the field radius, including Zetheran vessels, especially anything with quantum-based technology. Their systems would become entangled with ours. Maya considered this information. That wasn't in the mission briefing. It wasn't conclusive until yesterday's final simulations, Elena admitted. It could give us an advantage, but it's also unpredictable. Before Maya could respond, T's voice cut through the bridge. Captain, long-range sensors detecting multiple FTL signatures approaching the Sol system, matching Zarian warp patterns. Maya felt her heart rate accelerate. How many? 12 capital ships, approximately 20 support vessels. They're 2 weeks early. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth's defensive preparations were incomplete. The Zetherian fleet would reach Earth before the planetary shield grid was fully operational. Plot intercept course, Maya ordered, her decision made instantly. Prepare the phase drive for maximum output. Alina looked alarmed. We haven't tested it above 40% in actual space. We don't have a choice, Maya replied, echoing Admiral Hayes' earlier words. If we don't stop them here, Earth falls. As the Nexus changed course, accelerating toward the incoming Zerian fleet, Maya activated the ship-wide communication system. This is Captain Shin. As you've all been informed, the Zerian invasion force has arrived ahead of schedule. Our mission has been accelerated accordingly. She paused, weighing her next words carefully. What we attempt today has never been done before. We are about to challenge the most powerful empire in this sector of the galaxy with technology they can't comprehend. If we succeed, we secure Earth's independence. If we fail, she left the consequence unstated. Phase drive spinning up to maximum capacity, reported the engineering officer. Dimensional shift commencing in 3 minutes. Maya closed her eyes, feeling the ship's systems through the neural interface. The quantum co-pilot, designated AY, Autonomous Adaptive Recursive Intelligence Algorithm, merged with her consciousness, enhancing her ability to process the vast streams of data flowing through the ship. Zerian fleet has detected us, T announced. They're adjusting course to intercept. Weapons systems activating. On the view screen, the Zetherian battle group appeared. Massive biomechanical vessels shaped like elongated crustaceans, their hulls gleaming with the distinctive iridescent material that had become the Empire's signature. At their center was the flagship, Eternal Dominance, dwarfing its escorts. They're hailing us, Elena reported. Put it through, Maya ordered. High Commander Exoric's face appeared on the screen, his mandibles clicking in what humans had learned was their version of amused contempt. Captain Shin, I presume? The same primitive vessel you displayed in our council chamber. Have you come to surrender personally? It would be the wise choice. Your world cannot withstand our might. Maya smiled calmly. High Commander, I've come to offer you one chance to turn your fleet around and leave the Sol system in peace. Sorik's chittering laughter echoed through the bridge. You threaten us with a single vessel? Your species' arrogance is truly remarkable. Not arrogance, High Commander. Innovation. Maya cut the transmission with a thought. All hands, prepare for dimensional phase shift. OY, initiate maximum output. The ship hummed as the phase drive reached full power. Through the neural interface, Maya felt reality itself begin to shift around the Nexus. The familiar dimensions of space-time blurred as the vessel partially phased into subspace, existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. On the Zerian vessels, sensors registered confusion. The Earth ship seemed to flicker, becoming insubstantial, then multiplying into ghostly duplicates that occupied slightly different positions simultaneously. They're firing, T reported, as streaks of antimatter-charged plasma lanced toward the Nexus. Maya didn't need to give evasion orders through the neural link. She simply willed the ship to shift further into dimensional flux. The plasma beams passed harmlessly through the vessel's partially phased structure. Phase shift at 75% and holding, Alina announced, her voice tight with tension. Quantum entanglement effect initiating. The battle had begun. Earth's fate now hung in the balance as the Nexus prepared to demonstrate humanity's most radical technological innovation against an empire that had ruled the stars for 12,000 years. The Quantum Rebellion. High Commander Korik watched in disbelief as the primitive Earth vessel seemed to violate fundamental laws of physics. His tactical display showed multiple copies of the same ship, not holograms or sensor ghosts, but quantum probabilities made manifest. Impossible, he muttered, rising from his command chair. Full sensor sweep. What trickery is this? The science officer's appendages trembled as they manipulated the control interface. Commander, the Earth vessel is generating a dimensional phase shift. It exists in multiple quantum states simultaneously. No species has mastered such technology. Not even the ancient precursors achieved true quantum state manipulation. Sorik snapped. Nevertheless, the science officer replied, they have done it, and the effect is spreading. Alarms blared across the bridge as the ship's systems began reporting anomalies. The quantum processors that regulated everything from life support to weapon systems were experiencing entanglement effects, becoming synchronized with the Earth vessel's quantum signature. Fire all weapons. Destroy that ship before it can approach further. Korik ordered, panic edging into his normally controlled voice. Across the Zarian battle group, antimatter cannons charged and fired in unison. 12 capital ships unleashed enough firepower to reduce a small moon to superheated plasma. The barrage converged on the flickering Earth vessel and passed through it harmlessly as the Nexus shifted further out of conventional space-time. Inside the Nexus, Maya-Chun felt the Zarian attacks as mere disturbances in the quantum field surrounding the ship. Through her neural connection, she perceived the battle in ways no conventional captain could, as patterns of probability and possibility rather than concrete events. Phase shift holding at 82%, Elena reported, her voice strained. The entanglement effect is propagating through the Zarian fleet faster than predicted. Maya nodded, feeling the truth of this statement through the ship sensors. OY, analyze vulnerability points in Zethran ship design based on quantum signature feedback. The AI co-pilot's response formed directly in her mind. Zarian vessels utilize quantum-locked antimatter containment fields. Entanglement disruption would create cascading containment failures. Captain, T warned, if we trigger antimatter containment failures, the resulting explosions would annihilate their entire fleet. We need a targeted approach. She focused her thoughts, directing the ship's dimensional field to concentrate around the Zarian vessel's power cores. Through the neural interface, she could feel the quantum states of the enemy ships becoming increasingly entangled with the Nexus itself. On the view screen, the Zarian fleet had begun to exhibit the same flickering effect as the Nexus, their solid hulls becoming indistinct as quantum uncertainty propagated through their systems. They're trying to retreat, T reported. 3 vessels attempting to engage warp drives. Maya's expression tightened. They can't interwarp while quantum entangled with us. The dimensional stress would. Before she could finish, one of the Zarian cruisers attempting to flee suddenly warped in place, its structure stretching impossibly before snapping back with catastrophic results. The ship imploded, its matter converted to energy in a blinding flash that temporarily overwhelmed the viewscreen's filters. 2 more ships attempting emergency warp, T called out. Similar results imminent. Maya made a split-second decision. Broadcast on all frequencies, all languages. Zarian fleet, power down your warp drives immediately. The quantum entanglement effect makes faster-than-light travel impossible. Attempting it will result in your destruction. On the bridge of the eternal dominance, chaos reigned. Secondary explosions rippled through 3 support vessels as their quantum-based systems failed catastrophically. The flagship's own systems were becoming increasingly erratic, control interfaces flickering between states as the quantum uncertainty spread. The human vessel is broadcasting a warning, the communications officer reported. They claim our ships will self-destruct if we attempt warp travel while affected by this quantum plague. Thoric's rage manifested in violent clicking of his mandibles. They engineered this deliberately. This is not combat. It's technological terrorism. The tactical officer's voice cut through the commander's fury. High Commander, we have no effective countermeasures. Conventional weapons pass through their vessel. Our quantum systems are compromised. 2 more ships report antimatter containment fields fluctuating. For the first time in his long career, High Commander Korik faced a technological threat the Zarian Empire could not overcome. The humans, dismissed as primitive, had somehow developed technology that operated outside the established paths of galactic engineering. Open a channel to the Earth vessel, he ordered, his voice subdued. Captain Chen's face appeared on the view screen, her expression calm despite the chaos unfolding around them. High Commander, she acknowledged. Are you prepared to withdraw from Earth space? Korik's upper limbs twitched with suppressed fury. You cannot maintain this quantum attack indefinitely. Your ship's energy reserves are more than sufficient, Maya interrupted. The dimensional phase drive draws power from quantum fluctuations themselves. We could maintain this state for years if necessary. It was a bluff. The Nexus could sustain its current phase state for perhaps another 12 hours. But Sorak had no way of knowing that. Your actions violate all principles of civilized warfare, the Zarian commander protested. The Galactic Council never accepted Earth's application for membership, Maya countered coldly. We are not bound by its conventions. You came to our system uninvited with clear intent to conquer. We are defending our sovereignty with the tools available to us. Another Zethran vessel disappeared in a flash of light as its antimatter containment fields collapsed completely. Your terms, Sorik finally asked, mandibles clicking in defeat. Complete withdrawal from the Sol system, a formal non-aggression pact, recognition of Earth's sovereignty and a 5-light-year exclusion zone around our system, and access to Galactic Council proceedings as observers. Sorix's eyes narrowed. You ask much for a species that controls only one star system. We ask what we can enforce, Maya replied simply. You have 10 minutes to decide before we increase the quantum entanglement effect. The transmission cut off, leaving the Zethran commander staring at a blank screen. 8 minutes later, the Zetherian fleet began powering down its offensive systems. The Nexus maintained its quantum field but reduced the entanglement effect enough to allow the enemy vessels to stabilize their critical systems. They're transmitting acceptance of our terms, T reported, a note of disbelief in his voice. All ships preparing for withdrawal once quantum stability is restored. Maya allowed herself to relax slightly, though she maintained the neural connection to the ship's systems. Keep phase shift active until they've left sensor range. I don't trust them not to attempt a final strike. Elena moved to stand beside the captain's chair, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. We just defeated a Zethran battle group without firing a single conventional weapon. The quantum entanglement effect was far more powerful than our simulations predicted. The implications are significant. Maya acknowledged, we've just demonstrated technology that operates completely outside established engineering principles. Lieutenant T's console beeped with an incoming transmission. Captain, we're receiving a tight beam communication from the Zerian flagship. Text only, encrypted. It's addressed to you personally. Maya raised an eyebrow. Display it. The message was brief. Captain Chun, what your species has achieved will change the balance of power throughout the galaxy. The technological paths the Empire has followed for millennia have reached their limits. We believed ourselves superior because we could not imagine alternatives. Remember this lesson when Earth takes its place among the stars. Exaric. Maya read the message twice before ordering. Erase that from all logs. Official record shows only the formal surrender and acceptance of terms. Alina looked at her questioningly. What? Because, Maya replied quietly, when word of this encounter spreads, Earth will find itself with many new friends and enemies. Better if they underestimate us, at least for a while longer. As the Zerian fleet retreated from the Sol system, Maya initiated the procedure to reduce the dimensional phase shift. The Nexus gradually returned to normal space-time, its structure solidifying as quantum uncertainty collapsed into a single state. Set course for Earth, she ordered, disconnecting from the neural interface with a wince as her consciousness contracted back to its normal boundaries. We have a report to deliver. 1 month later, a different council chamber hummed with activity. This time it was the Galactic Council's central meeting hall on the neutral world of Axios Prime. Representatives from 67 spacefaring civilizations had gathered for an emergency session called to address recent technological developments in the Sol system. Admiral Hayes stood at the center of the chamber, flanked by Captain Chun and Dr. Kapoor. Facing them was the full council, including, for the first time, a Zerian representative who was not advocating for Earth's subjugation. The Zethran Empire formally supports Earth's petition for observer status, announced Councillor Velik, the same subcommander who had once dismissed humans as barely worth noticing. Furthermore, we acknowledge Earth's sovereign territory and right to self-determination. Murmurs spread through the assembled delegates. The Zetherian Empire had never voluntarily recognized any emerging species rights without first establishing dominance. The Centauri representative, a tall humanoid with iridescent skin, spoke next. We find it curious that the mighty Zerian fleet returned from Earth with significant damage to 12 capital ships, with 3 vessels reported completely lost. Perhaps the High Commander would care to explain what force compelled such generosity. Velik's mandibles clicked in obvious discomfort. The Empire recognizes the value of peaceful coexistence with species demonstrating unique approaches to technological development. The Council Chair, a gelatinous entity from the ancient Morbidian collective, pulsed with blue bioluminescence, their equivalent of a skeptical expression. Earth has been spacefaring for barely 3 decades. The technological gap between your civilizations is measured in millennia. What unique approach could possibly warrant this unprecedented concession? Admiral Hayes stepped forward before Velik could respond. Earth respectfully declines to discuss its defensive capabilities in open council. We came here seeking peaceful integration into the galactic community, not to provoke an arms race. Yet an arms race is precisely what you may have initiated, observed the Telluran ambassador, their crystalline form refracting light as they moved. Rumors spread quickly. A single Earth vessel allegedly neutralized an entire Zarian battle group without conventional weapons. If true, such technology would disrupt the balance of power established over thousands of years. Captain Chin met the ambassador's faceted gaze steadily. With respect, Ambassador, that balance of power has primarily benefited established powers like the Zarian Empire while relegating emerging species to client state status or worse. Perhaps some disruption is overdue. The chamber erupted in voices, some outraged, others thoughtful. The council chair pulsed rapidly, restoring order. Earth's petition for observer status will be put to vote, they announced. However, the council formally requests a technological exchange delegation be permitted to visit Earth for the purpose of verifying compliance with Galactic Non-Proliferation Accords. Admiral Hayes smiled diplomatically. Earth welcomes technological exchange on a reciprocal basis. However, we must insist that any delegation respect our sovereign right to pursue our own research paths. As the formal vote proceeded, unanimously approving Earth's observer status, Dr. Kapoor leaned close to Captain Chin. They're frightened, he whispered. Not just the Zetherians. All of them. Maya nodded slightly. They should be. We've demonstrated that their technological monopoly is over. The established powers can no longer simply overwhelm younger species who haven't had millennia to develop along conventional paths. Admiral Hayes rejoined them as the council moved on to other matters. Phase 2 begins, she murmured. The Nexus was just the prototype. The quantum shipyards are already constructing the first fleet vessels. And the dimensional phase technology? Maya asked. Being adapted for planetary defense, Hayes confirmed. Within a year, the entire Sol system will be able to phase shift if attacked. Dr. Kapoor adjusted his glasses nervously. We're still exploring the full implications of quantum state manipulation, Admiral. There may be consequences we haven't anticipated. There always are, Doctor, Hayes replied calmly. But humanity no longer has the luxury of cautious development. We've announced our presence on the galactic stage rather dramatically. Now we need to secure our position. As they departed the council chamber, diplomats from a dozen worlds approached, offering congratulations, trade proposals, and thinly veiled requests for technological partnership. Earth, dismissed as primitive just months earlier, had suddenly become the most sought-after ally in the sector. Captain Chin, a voice called from behind them. Maya turned to see a Zarian officer, not Velik, but a younger individual whose carapace lacked the distinctive markings of the ruling caste. I am Morkel, third science officer from the Eternal Dominance. The Zetherian introduced himself. Mandibles moving in the pattern humans had learned indicated respectful greeting. I wish to convey my personal admiration for your vessel's capabilities. Maya inclined her head slightly. Thank you, science officer. The Zetherian hesitated, then continued more quietly. There are those among my species who believe we have reached the limits of our technological path. For millennia, we have refined the same principles without fundamental innovation. What your ship demonstrated. It has inspired many of us to question our assumptions. Questioning assumptions is the foundation of scientific progress, Maya replied carefully. Indeed. Morkel's compound eyes gleamed with an emotion Maya couldn't identify. Perhaps in the future, our species might find more productive ways to exchange ideas than military confrontation. As the Zarian departed, Admiral Hayes raised an eyebrow. Making friends with the enemy, Captain? Maya watched Morkel disappear into the crowd of diplomats. Not friends, Admiral, but perhaps not enemies either. The Nexus didn't just change Earth's status in the galaxy. It may have changed how the established powers view technological development itself. A quantum shift in more ways than one, Hayes mused. Together, they boarded the shuttle that would return them to the Nexus, now docked openly at Axios Prime's orbital station, where its distinctive design drew constant attention from passing vessels. Earth had arrived on the galactic stage not as a supplicant or a client, but as an innovator, a species that had taken an entirely different path and, in doing so, changed the rules of engagement forever. As the shuttle docked with the Nexus, Maya gazed out at the vast array of alien ships surrounding the station. Some belonged to empires that had ruled the stars since before humans had mastered fire. Others represented coalitions of worlds with technologies that had once seemed like magic to Earth scientists. Yet none possessed what the Nexus had demonstrated, the ability to question fundamental assumptions about how technology should develop. In finding their own path, born of necessity and innovation rather than tradition, Humans had opened a door that could never again be closed. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity, once dismissed as primitive, would help shape its future.